All right, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business today. We're going to see if we got BSS for either of these two Google searches. So we're back here at the GBC universe. We're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinned video, video on the homepage, wherever. And this is because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. Now, way over on the left, we got our highest intent people. These are our, Google and social searchers. They're searching for a boudoir photo shoot, like in their city right now. So it's the highest intent peeps. And over on the right, we got the lowest intent peeps. We got to reach them through interruption marketing, through, Facebook, Instagram. So people are not searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now, and nearly all of them have no idea what the heck boudoir even is. So we talk about that actually on our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. And we talk about BLCS over there, and currently we only work with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. But over here, we're all about the BSS, so let's see what that's about. All right, so BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots, we're dead, kind of out of the water. That means we're on page 2 or deeper. And as a result, we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So we're invisible to approximately 80% of the market, which is the bulk of the market, no bueno. And 1 slot on page 1 Google is not good either, because we're looking like everyone else. We're basically invisible. Everyone else has got 1 slot, and there's 10 organic slots there. So that means basically 9 other boudoir photographers. So what's a buyer going to do? They're, approximately 80% of buyers. They're going to be just clicking down, open the link to everyone's, to literally everyone's business, boudoir photography website, contacting everyone, submitting the contact form, getting a quote, price shopping, price hunting, comparing, negotiating, killing all our margins, and killing our business. So BSS, we do not know that. We do not want that. Now, 0, 1 slots on page 1 Google is not normal. It's common, it's accepted, but it's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. So 2 deeper root causes. One, basically everyone knows about market saturation. Yeah, as people people just eventually get new gear, get new iPhones, get new cameras, and they're throwing up the Google Maps profiles and they shoot boudoir now. They're creating their websites and they shoot boudoir now, competing with us for page 1 Google search dominance. They are increasing, or they're also posting in the mom groups and Facebooks and they now shoot boudoir. So it's just more boudoir photographers for the same number of buyers, making it harder for every other boudoir photographer to get clients. Now, the second part here is new. That's the false belief of page 1 equality. So it's kind of automatically accepted with boudoir photographers, where it's kind of like, assuming or accepting every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots, page 1 of Google, and that's how it is. You gotta accept it, blah blah blah. And maybe we had a lower page 1 slot on page 1 of Google, and then new boudoir photographer came in, their website ranked higher, and then we are, now we're pushed to page 2. So it's like, well, that's simply the way things are. Hopefully that person deletes their website so it stops indexing on Google, and Google can bring us back up onto page 1. But actually, this line of thinking is incorrect, because I went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google search in only 10 days using our new methodology, which we'll get to in like 2 more pictures. But what it tells us is we got to break through this mindset or this false belief of page 1 equality, because it's not true. Google will actually literally give as many page 1 slots as somebody wants to put in the effort to acquire. And again, I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 to 9 out of 10 in 10 days. Now, a boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Yeah, so if we got 0 slots on page 1, we're on page 2 or deeper, approximately 80% of the market's never even seen us. Yeah, we're a disappearing boudoir photographer, which means our boudoir photography business is on the path to disappearing. And if we got 1 slot on page 1 on Google, we're still basically invisible. We're looking like everyone else, no differentiation. We're getting price shopped, getting killed. Our margins are getting killed. I mean, we're wasting our time talking to all these people, and we're disappearing boudoir photographer in that case again. And in both cases, this is like a warning light, kind of a raising the red flag that our boudoir photography business is on the path to disappearing as well. But finally, we have a solution. We finally got a solution here. We have, after investigating and testing, we've learned that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And we know this because we invented it. It's what I used to go from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google, in only 10 days. And interesting thing about this is the only strategy or methodology I've seen for boudoir photographers that can allow a boudoir photography business to grow in the presence, still grow in the presence of massive market saturation, and have it, be able to happen relatively quickly. The only other option is to have a strong, massively known brand, which takes 5 to 10 years, which does not satisfy the relatively quickly requirement because we no longer have any time. AI is here taking people's jobs. We got to dominate our city ASAP. We don't have time to build a 5 to 10-year brand. But interestingly enough, using S-cube methodology, by my estimate, probably 8x the speed of building a brand. And imagine if you use an S-cube methodology with a super well-known brand, basically undefeatable. So how does this strategy work? I mean, it's exactly as the name says, social search saturation, saturating social search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in our city. And when we do that, that's kind of like the backside of the Andes Mountains. The snow is melting back there. They're in South America, and it's running off. You got small streams, small rivers. They all run off. They all collect into the Amazon River. So the Amazon River is page 1 of Google, but where everything starts, all our inputs need to happen is utilizing S-cube methodology, social search saturation. And kind of an interesting example here is let's say there's 1 million boudoir photographers in Atlanta, Georgia. And we're one of them. Everyone's competing. Everyone's got their boudoir website trying to rank page 1 on Google. And we're like, all right, for us to compete, we gotta stop our potential buyers from even seeing any of our competitors. We gotta crank up S-cube methodology to the max. So let's say we are increasing, let's say we take over the first 300 slots across social search, across all the social platforms. And then that bleeds onto page 1 on Google. We got the first 300 organic slots on Google. Now it's 10 organic slots per page on Google, which means we're taking over the first 30 pages. And if approximately 80% of people ain't even going from page 1 to page 2, basically ain't nobody going from page 1 to page 3. Actually, they have to go to page 31 to essentially find one of our competitors. So if we're essentially on what peeps can find when they search on social media, when they search on Google, whose business will still be growing? Ours. Whose business will be shrinking? Well, the 999,999 other boudoir photographers will be shrinking. And as a result, S-cube methodology has allowed our business to continue to grow, even in a super saturated market, even with having no brand. But this actually helps us get a brand by my estimate 8x faster. So this is the magic of S-cube methodology for boudoir photographers. Next, once you're with S-cube methodology, we have page 1 visibility. So initial benefit, we get more slots page 1 on Google. Second initial benefit is we are kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible. So they go to page 2 or deeper. Approximately 80% of buyers never even see them because approximately 80% of Google searches are page 1 only searches. Awesome. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. So this is where the GBC universe recommends us to get 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google, because when we're compared against everyone else with 1 slot, we dominate them. And super, super rare, but someone could have 2 slots. But if we got 3, we dominate them as well. So we're basically dominating in nearly all scenarios. Now, boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer. So we got our final mini micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. But now we know it's false. We can utilize our solution. Now we know the solution is S-cubed methodology. And we achieve page 1 visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Now, my results utilizing S-cubed methodology, real quick here. I want to rank for the term BLCS boudoir. So I actually went to, I straight up used S-cubed methodology. And let's look at the organic. So I started with 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 of Google. Let's see, I got organic slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, slot 4, slot 5, slot 6, slot 7, slot 8, and slot 10. So as a result, in 10 days, went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google for the search term I want to rank for. And these are my results utilizing S-cubed methodology. So now to the main course here. We want to see if this boudoir photography business has BSS, boudoir search sameness, for these two Google searches. So all right, we're going back here. So first we're looking at boudoir photographer in Middletown, Delaware. So let's see. So I'm going to go to the organics. So here we go. Boom, they got 1. Boom, they got 2. Boom, they got 3. Boom, they got 4. I believe this he has them as well. Yep, boom, they got 5. And okay, I believe this is them as well. They got 6. Boom, they got 7. I don't think that's. Hold on, did I miss one? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's sponsored. They got 5. They got 6. They got 7. They got 8. They do not have 9. They got 10. All right, so this is what we want to shoot for. Well, we want to hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10, but we got 9 out of 10 here. This is perfect. Someone searching this, who are they going with? Who are they going with? There's only 2 options in the organic searches. And I got, number 9 here, Elevate Creative Studio. So this is perfect. Wonder how much more work we need to do to get a 10 out of 10. But all right, so we definitely do not have BSS for this one. So we don't have BSS for that. Let's see the larger city though. So local, 9 out of 10, fantastic. We do not have BSS. Now we're going for kind of the largest city nearby. So that'd be Wilmington, Delaware. All right, so let's see. Boom, we got 1. So we got 1. We got 1 out of 10. Dude, we got BSS. We got BSS for the city. For the city search. So we got local search and city search we look at. We definitely got BSS. Here we got 1 out of 10. And this is exactly what S-cubed methodology was built to solve. So going back. So first search does not have BSS. First search was amazing, 9 out of 10. Second search, we got 1 out of 10. We got BSS. We got 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google. We got to hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. That's our goal. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've got BSS, you did your local search and your city search, and you saw, you only got either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google, and or you have not hit the GBC minimum, recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1. And you understand the page 1 equality belief, and now you're like, oh yeah, obviously that's false, when we didn't really even think about it before, because now we see how I got 9 out of 10 on page 1 on Google organic search results. And you understand the market saturation, yeah. New iPhones, new boudoir photographers, new camera, new boudoir photographers. But you're also seeing AI take more and more people's jobs, and you're like, okay, like COVID brought in a flood of boudoir photographers. AI is taking more people's jobs, probably going to bring in a flood of boudoir photographers as well. So you want to prepare for the influx of supply of sellers by kind of fortifying your page 1 Google presence. So essentially never allow those people joining to show up page 1 on Google. And you see S-cubed methodology, and you're like, yes, finally, I've been waiting for something like this. So you want to use S-cubed methodology to achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, achieve boudoir search visibility. And also you want the back-end bonuses of using S-cubed methodology as well, which we haven't talked about yet, we'll talk about now, which is we're basically building thematic keyword columns via social and on Google that are kind of columns plugged into our brand, our basically the name of our business, our social handles. And those thematic keyword columns, guess what? They increase the probability we show up here in the AI overview. They increase the probability we show up in AI search like ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search. Increase in the probability there. And last time I did ChatGPT search for boudoir photographers in the city, recommended me, it only gave me 3. And AI search is increasing every single day. More and more people use an AI search every single day. Still, Google is about 90% search volume. But we're kind of pre-positioning ourselves AI search, which S-cube methodology helps with. And kind of once we build this kind of back-end invisible momentum, these thematic keyword columns that plug into all these, basically prevent people ranking on page 1 against us and build up keep building up and increase our probability of showing up across all these AI searches. And you decide you want to be a first mover because this has got to get done. Start building up this momentum because again, ads momentum goes to 0 when you stop spending. This momentum will continue ongoing. Basically, these have momentum, not infinite momentum, but you decide you want to start the momentum, then keep growing the momentum, actually dominate page 1. And you also see that the further you put yourself ahead of the competition now, when AI starts basically kind of forcing people to become boudoir photographers, you'll be well positioned to be unaffected by it because you've already built up page 1 domination, which is like, dude, that's like 7 out of 10 slots or more. Page 1 Google, 8 out of 10 slots or more. And being recommended AI search, putting distance between you and everyone else. And you want to basically guarantee that you put so much distance, nobody can catch up. Instead of a competitor working with me, where plan right now is to only work with 1 person per city. Instead of a competitor getting all these kind of momentum bonuses and page 1 slots where then you would have to actually, if I were to continue work with them, you would have to rederive the S-cubed methodology on your own, figure out how to actually get it to work. And then you will never actually know if you're doing it correctly, how we've done it. And then you'd have to equal our output to maintain the distance kind of behind your competitor that I could be working with. And you'd have to kind of double our output to actually make up that lost ground and build back up the momentum and take it from us. So you've decided, well, it's better to simply become the first mover here. So we get all the benefits, none of the drawbacks. So if you want all these benefits, shoot me a DM when I open for new patient intake. I'm not currently open for new patient intake, so even if you want to work with me, you cannot. But when I do open up the hospital for new patient intake, shoot me a DM and we will see if you qualify.